Well, good evening, everyone. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Kyle. How are you?
Fantastic. What about yourself?
I'm all right.
You all right?
Yeah, I'll be better.
Um, I hope so. I think let's
Yeah.
have fun for the next. Well, we're not going to have fun for the next hour and a half, but we can have fun at the beginning of it with the stupid news that we'll get
With
to here in a second.
news dumb, right?
hmm I have a Florida story just for
It's
you.
been a few minutes since we've had a smoking nun.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
It's
a
been a
week and a half, I think.
week and a half. Yeah, right. Because I had Faithless Forum.
Yep.
That
Which,
yeah.
by
And
the
by the
way,
way,
did you have a blast?
oh, it was so much fun. So much fun.
Oh,
The
good.
videos from I got the video yesterday from the Faithless Forum, and I'm going to cut on the panel that I moderated, the panel that I was on, and then the discount garden gnome segment. So you'll get to see all of that. I'll try to have one of them. It'll be three separate videos, but I'll try to have one of them at least up by tomorrow. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I
I got really drunk.
I saw that
And
I saw the
go ahead.
photo. I saw the photo of you, and I didn't know that it was you. Actually, I had to like look at it a couple times with the garden gnome thing.
Yeah, it just happened to work out that way. But
Yeah.
it was funny because that Saturday night there was an after party. Most of everybody watching knows this, but I'll tell you just because it was so weird. But that Saturday night there was an after party at this like bar and grill. They had the entire place rented out, and there were so many people there. There was hundreds of people there,
Uh-huh.
and everybody was just like, "Hey, Kyle, come here. Let's take a shot. Let's have a drink, and so I was really drunk by the time the thing ended, and we went we went back to the hotel, and it's me, Paul, and Shannon, and we're in the elevator, and
Yeah.
I'm on the fifth floor. They're on the sixth floor. So I get off the elevator, I go to my room, I take my belt off and lay it on the bed, and then the next thing that I know, I wake up in the middle of Walmart with a buggy, a bag of gummy bears in the buggy, and then I don't have it near me. Oh yeah, and this red hat.
What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
You
No
got
clue how
so
I got
drunk,
there.
you
Yeah,
ended up in Walmart.
right. That just shows you how old I am now. Like when you're younger, people when they get blackout drunk, they want to either go to a strip club, do more partying.
Yeah.
I said, let's go to Walmart, and so I got in an Uber and went to Walmart.
Maybe, hey, maybe it's because of all of the stories that we've done about drunk people at Walmart.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. That may. I didn't even think about that. Well, it's funny because earlier that day I had a traumatic experience at Walmart. In between, we got breaks at the Fateless Forum, so I ran over to Walmart because I was craving grapes, and that's all I wanted
Uh-huh.
was grapes. And there were so many kids in Walmart, and I'm in the checkout line, and they only have like this is the case at every Walmart. They have like 20 different lanes. They only
Yeah,
open like three of them. There's only three of them
right.
open anytime.
I know.
So everybody's
So dumb.
smashed in the middle of this, and there's
Yeah.
a lady with like three kids in front of me, and then a lady with like eight kids behind me, and two of them were grabbing onto like the sides of my pants and standing on my shoes. And I don't try, I don't. I know they're kids. They don't know what They don't mean anything by it. So I'm just standing there like, "Hey, how are you? How old are you?" And one of the little kids went, "Shut up." And so I'm like, for 10 minutes, literally, I'm being swarmed by these kids. And I I guess what really happened is that night, I had such a traumatic experience at Walmart earlier that my brain just went, "Hey, when kids aren't at Walmart?
At night.
Now, now."
Yeah.
So, yeah, but yeah, that's my Walmart story.
Oh my
Um,
God. That's
yeah,
hilarious. Like, who goes to
um,
Walmart drunk? The
this guy.
story would only be better, Kyle, if it was like Florida man goes to Walmart
Oh yeah,
drunk and buys Magna hat.
MAGA hat. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, this isn't a MAGA hat. This is an Adidas hat. But
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying it kind of looks like one.
you know what though? I didn't even think about that. I actually wore this on the when I did Talk Heathen the next day. I never even thought about it being mistaken for a MAGA hat. Ooh, that'd be awful. That would be awful.
They've ruined the red hat forever, I think. They've ruined the red hat.
Yeah. I did get the grapes, and I ate half of them while I was in line. Everybody's asking, did I get the grapes? That's how long the line was. I'm one of those people that if I like get a drink or something somewhere, and everybody has their like etiquette, I guess, when you go places. But if it's Walmart, I mean, I'm just like, I don't care. I'm gonna buy it anyway. If I want to eat half of it, I will. So yes, I did get the grapes and ate half of them. I'm on my way. I like grapes almost as much as I do Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'm a huge grape person. I could eat them anytime.
Can I just tell you a secret? I have become a Cinnamon Toast Crunch like fanatic. Ever since we've been talking about this for months, I started. I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy them, and now it's like an addiction.
Yeah, it's like crack.
It is like crack.
I got you hooked, girl.
I finish a whole bowl and then I'm like dumping in more.
Yeah, it's funny because like on Twitter, everybody. By the way, if you want to keep up to date with what's going on with the show or myself, I post on. That's mainly where you can find me is on Twitter. It's at NonSec Show. It's right up above you in the top bar up there. But somebody or everybody keeps posting me like when they go places. One lady sent me a picture of this like his cookie or something like that, but it's this Cinnamon Toast Crunch dessert. This got like ice cream and layers of the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yeah. And then somebody yesterday sent me a picture of a Cinnamon Toast Crunch shot that they have. And so I'll be trying that. Yeah. I'll be trying that next.
Dangerous. Well, I didn't even realize that you can almost taste the butter.
Oh, let's not go that far now. You're like a Cinnamon Toast Crunch sommelier now. I'm getting hints of butter and
butter and nutmeg. So good.
But, tonight is a awful story. I want to give you a heads up going in. It is not for the faint of heart, as are many things. I say this every time Katie's on.
I know. And this isn't even my story. That's the amazing thing.
I was getting ready to say that. I was getting ready to say Katie cannot be blamed, though, for this one because I was actually Steve and I were on the Drunken Peasants on Saturday night, and they played this news clip that we're going to see here in just a few minutes, and I just was like, I've never been at a loss for words like I was at listening to this. I mean, it was just gut wrenching to hear, and all of us were just like, I mean, what can you say to what you're going to hear? But we'll go through that here in just a minute. But as always, we start out with this week in newsdom.
Gut wrenching is most exciting.
Yeah. Well, let's get to the nonsense here. We're going to start out with shoplifter busted after returning to the scene of the crime to fill out a job application. A Wyoming man was arrested after filling out a job application at Sportsman Warehouse where he had just shoplifted sunglasses and bullets, according to the Gillette. Yeah. Of all the things that you could get, bullets is probably not going to end up very well for him. The 36-year-old shoplifter visited the sporting goods store to buy a few items, at which time he also stole a pair of $90 shades and ammunition worth $50. So he got out with $140. And then roughly 3 hours after the Sportsman's Warehouse reported the theft, the unidentified perp returned to the store to fill out a job application. During that visit, the alleged thief reportedly lifted 2 more pair of sunglasses valued at $85. So he returns fills out a job application, and then steals 2 more pair of sunglasses.
That's
Um,
crazy.
he was caught on video removing stickers from the merchandise. Cops issued a citation and recovered the stolen goods. According to an NBC affiliate, it's likely that these shoplifting charges may affect his candidacy for a job with the retail chain, which has 93 stores and employs 5,300 people. Is that
Oh
needed?
my
Okay,
God.
you write articles. That's what you do. That's what
Yes.
you're a writer.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Is it
Yep.
necessary to tell us something like that? Like to tell us that this may affect his candidacy for a job with that chain that he stole from?
That's probably like a little snark that they added at the end, I'm thinking.
Yeah, like being sassy.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay,
mean, sometimes with those cases, like you can be a little sarcastic at the end, like kind of
sure,
like tying into like the ridiculousness of what he did and then how he actually like stole while he was applying to work there.
sure. I can go with that.
It's
I'm
probably
just sitting here.
it's probably the writer just being playful.
Sure, I didn't think about that. When I read it, I was like, I mean, is there really anyone out there that thinks that this would affect his chances at the job he stole from? No way. He sounds like an ideal candidate. Who wouldn't want somebody that grabs and some the bullets thing? Like that's
Yeah,
just a really stupid idea. That's just a really dumb idea.
right.
But
You Yeah, I
go
don't.
ahead.
And why do you need 3 pairs of sunglasses?
Right, right. Agreed. All right, Dave. This is a funny story. Man arrested for indecent images after turning his gravy covered computer into Best Buy's Geek Squad. Now, if you're like me and you have sort of a dirty minded mind, um, when they said indecent images, I'm thinking when they say gravy covered, that was a word that they were using in place of something else.
I
Turns
immediately
out,
was like, what was he doing when he was looking at the indecent images?
turns out, yeah, people in the live chat are doing the same thing, like gravy
Yeah,
euphemism, gravy covered. No,
yeah.
it was not a euphemism. It was actual gravy. Um, Robert Leo Watson, who was 54 years old, took his computer to a Geek Squad service desk at a Best Buy in Des Moines, Iowa, after he spilled gravy on the device. He purchased a new computer and requested that the Geek Squad copy his old files to his new device. Now, remember that. That is key to this story. He bought a new computer, right?
Yeah.
But that
Uh-huh.
wasn't enough. He took his gravy covered computer and told them to copy the files that were on there.
Yeah.
So, the Geek Squad, the chain's tech service, normally covering every issue from a grandparent setting up an iCloud account to a purchase hoping to install it. Ugh, I cannot read today. To install a
I
home
have
theater.
those moments all
Instead,
the time.
alerted authorities as they discovered what they alleged to be child pornography.
Oh
So,
God.
yeah. So this guy takes his gravy covered computer in there with this child porn on there and
Yeah.
tells them to copy the files from that so that he can put it on his new computer that he bought. Now the
He got
the
himself
man faces
arrested.
right, yeah. The man faces, which I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm thankful that he's this
Yeah.
stupid. Like I'm thankful
Yeah.
that people are this dumb. But he says the man
Yeah.
faces 9 charges of purchasing and possessing depictions of minors in sexual acts in the first degree and 1 charge in the second degree. Police collected his old computer covered in gravy still and his new computer, according to the plaint. The images that were recovered were several, and some of which he admitted to police to be saved as 13-year-old and 14-year-old, the file names. He's in jail under a $50,000 cash bond. He is due to appear in court on May the 10th. Ugh. Gravy covered computer.
What a
I wonder what kind of
dick.
gravy it was. Why do people eat like this over their computer? Like why?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even
I eat like beside my computer sometimes when I'm
Yeah.
working. I'm like,
yeah.
like today, today
But
I
I'll
had
put
an
it in my
appointment.
lap.
Yeah, today I had an
Right.
appointment with my son this morning, and then I had to like eat really quick to go to the doctor. Then I go to the doctor, and then my freaking doctor like filled the wrong prescription, so it was dumb. But anyways, I ate on the side of my computer, but there was not
Yeah,
gravy included.
that I understand. But I mean, the guy didn't even have like, if he's obviously a child predator, he's saving files on his computer with the
Yeah.
names 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
That's creepy.
how incredibly stupid. Don't get me wrong. Again, I'm glad he's this stupid, but that's just so dumb. Okay, let's go to the next one.
I've had one of these days where I'm learning that people that do criminal things are not very smart.
They aren't. They usually aren't at all. It's just like me.
I think they're very smart. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the time that I got arrested, that sent me to I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but that sent me to prison. It was a New Year's Eve. It was a new. I did tell you what happened, where they busted in.
No, well, you told me that you told me about the sentencing, I think, but you never told me about the arrest.
Well, just real quick, it was New Year's Eve. I just got done working an 18-hour day. Me and this other guy, I was helping him out. It was his kitchen, but he's a chef, and they were having like a little like party for New Year's. People were drinking. It was a big like dance thing or whatever. So we're clearing up from that, and he's like, hey, I got a little blow. You want to do something? I'm like, of course I do, absolutely. So at the same time that happens, there's a fight that breaks out in the dining room. Right. And so the police are called, and we have no idea this is going on, no clue. And so I'm literally right about to do a line, and the kitchen doors bust open, and it's the police going to the manager's office to get the video because of the fight. Had nothing to do with me, but here I am stuck, right down at the line of coke. And so yeah, there's nothing like watching that back when you're in court.
What ended you up in jail for a year?
I had a weed charge prior to that. I had a drunk in public charge, which was not. I wasn't drunk in public. I had a beer in my hand, and I walked outside to take a phone call. And as soon as I stepped outside, a policeman on a bike, the street cops got me because I stepped out into public.
Yeah.
Yeah, so dumb. That's so dumb. But anyway, yeah, Kyle Escobar. Not quite that hard, but close. But close.
That's crazy. And I don't know what's worse, that arrest or then the fact that you think you're getting a deal and then you end up going to jail for a year.
Oh, definitely the deal and going to jail for a year. Definitely. I just happened to have and though I was talking to somebody in the chat the other day who knew the judge that I was talking about, Judge Albright. And he's just got that reputation. He's an old school, my generation was the best generation, and kids these days, they just need hard lessons and blah blah blah. But he threw that plea deal out. Was like, nope, not taking it. So but
insane.
Yeah. In Kuwait, Jillian may have some competition.
I covered this story.
Okay, well, I'll read off the headline, and then you can tell us what it's about. A Kuwaiti doctor claims to have a suppository cure for homosexuality. So they have a pill that you shove up your ass to make you straight.
Yeah. Because anal worms cause your gayness.
Oh, man.
So, what's her name?
No.
What's her name?
Well, anal worm is an interesting. Well, I'm not even going to go there. I'm sure people can get where I'm going.
You know what? I don't have her name. What's her name again? Something.
Her name is Dr. Mariam Al-Sohel.
Okay, and she has a honorary doctorate, and she's a a new age sex therapist. And the interesting thing here is that we have to remember that Kuwait is extremely conservative and has horrible laws when it comes to homosexuality and, you know, anything, like you can be killed, right?
Sure.
For being gay. And so their understanding is backwards because of that. That's my only thought process where this is coming from, because this is so out of left field. She says that when you're sexually attracted to someone, it like ignites something inside of you, okay? And that sexual attraction is then fed. And if you're attracted to a man and you're a man, then what happens is you're infected with worms in your anus, but then the anus worms then eat your sperm, which makes you gay.
Oh, what a fucking, how can anyone be that stupid? Like, to sit there and seriously propose this as a possible cause of being gay. It's outstanding. It's so stupid. It's great.
Did you watch the video?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. Like, she's like, this is science. We can't, this is science. This is science from the prophecies.
As doing this show, I have learned that people, not everyone knows what the definition of science is, or people don't know what science really means.
I know.
You know?
I know. She's like, this is science, you guys. So this is in the prophecies. And then the reporters are like, oh, praise Allah. Well,
that's equally as that's a fitting response for someone saying that anal worms cause gayness. Yes, praise Allah.
Yeah,
praise Allah.
She's like holding up these little things that look like tampons that you stick up your butt, right? And she's got one for men and then one for butch lesbians. And
wait, is the one for the butch lesbians? Is that does the case for that medication come in flannel?
Yeah. It comes in flannel, and it actually drives to your house in a U-Haul.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Since we're going with these, she loves stereotypes.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not.
Yeah. Since we're going with the stereotypes, yeah. And I can't. She didn't really offer an explanation for the sperm being in a lesbian, because the anal worms eat sperm, but a lesbian doesn't make sperm. So that's just weird. And then she says you have to eat like diets of like roots for men, because apparently effeminate men don't eat enough root vegetables, and you have to eat anything that is grown in the ground, and that will make you be less
like a carrot, gay. Something shaped like a carrot or a potato.
Yes. Yeah.
She's got all these phallic all this symbolism, like like you said, the pill itself does look just like a little tampon, and it's funny that she's having people who are so stupid. Dr. Miriam, you're a fucking idiot. Please tell me that you don't have any children, and I hope that you are laughed into irrelevancy.
So the thing is, the only thing that I could think of is that everything in Kuwait is very controlled. It's not like a free state by any means. And they are very conservative in their beliefs. It's one of like 10 countries in that area that has extremely archaic laws when it comes to homosexuality, which makes me feel like people don't have a very good understanding of it, which is probably why the reporters are like, praise Allah, yes, it's science, like.
Yeah. Right.
That was my only.
These are people who believe that Muhammad flew on a horse and cut half the moon in half too. So.
Right. It's and it's like, so I have to believe that part of it's just the indoctrination and the control of the government, and the people just people that are gay can't be gay, and so they don't see people being gay, and if they are gay, they get killed.
Right. So who's gonna come forward for this medication? Like no one's gonna come and try to get it
Right.
because
Right.
for risk of getting so dumb. Tired Atheist says much love from the Tired Atheist. Thank you for that super chat. And Cajun Crustacean left a super chat with no message, so thank you for that one as well. All right, Dave.
Christy says she sounds dumb as fuck.
Here's your Florida story, which is this is fantastic. Robert Leo Casey arrested for masturbating while driving naked, and also had a toy pistol in his anus.
Oh God!
Thank you to Pooch for the super chat with no message. But yeah, I didn't bring up the story on this because it's Florida, and I didn't feel like I needed to sit there and read about what this guy was, what he was doing beforehand. All we needed to know is that he was from Florida, and he was masturbating on the highway with a toy pistol in his butt.
Oh my God!
Next story. We're gonna start getting a little serious now here. This is, to me, unbelievable. But a driver was going 80 miles per hour, had Gatorade in the baby seat, but the child was left unsecured. There's a picture right there for you of what police found in the car.
The rear-facing moms would be super pissed right now with that picture.
The what?
The rear-facing moms, the moms that are like obsessed with car seats, they would be like going berserk right now.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
There's a that's a big thing up for controversy.
Car seats? Oh my God. Moms can make anything a controversy.
That's true. I don't know. Is there one that's better than the like? Is the rear facing better, like safety wise, than the?
Okay,
I don't know these things.
We're supposed to rear face until a child is like 2 years old or so many pounds, and people get into these heated debates because some people will rear face until the kids are 4, because they think it's safer, and it like the mom world can literally make something as mundane as eating a chip like the worst thing in the world. So you have to imagine that car seats can be insane. Like it's like the car seat Nazis for the most part. Excellent. And there's lots of different car seats. I mean, my son is still in like a full seat with a point harness, but that's because he's autistic and has low tone. But most kids his age are just like in a booster at that point.
Gotcha.
But that baby, that's very insane.
Yeah, this happened in Redmond, Washington. Police were so astonished they took a photo and put it on Twitter. So the police were so pissed off that now I have these last 2 stories are stories about the police taking matters into their own hands, in a good way. I think that I think that if you do something this stupid, police you should be made to feel like if you get any shame from this, if this traumatizes you from this going viral on social media, be a better parent. That's my advice. But officers pulled over a driver going 80 miles per hour on Highway 520 to discover that he'd stashed Gatorade bottles in a child's car seat while a young girl slept unsecured on the back seat. This is never okay, officers wrote on Twitter. Thankfully, the child was fine, but please use car seats for kids, not Gatorade. The man told police at the 10:30 a.m. Wednesday stop that the child had fallen asleep and he didn't want to wake her. I'm sorry. I don't care if your kid is resting like a little angel and you don't want to wake them up. You put them in a fucking car seat, because if something would have happened with him going 80 miles an hour, if he'd have lost control of the vehicle, sometimes you're not in control. Sometimes whether it be somebody else causes an accident or an animal runs out in front of you, you can't help that. And that kid would be dead. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That child would not be here if something like that happened, especially going that fast. He was driving. He was cited for going 80 miles per hour. He had no license and no insurance.
Of course.
So, be a better parent.
He probably failed
Yeah.
the driver's test because he got that answer to that question wrong. When do you
Or he
put
has
children?
been suspended for having
Yeah.
so many tickets.
Yeah. I was just gonna
Um,
say I was being rhetorical because he failed.
What
because,
about?
Oh,
Do you think Gatorade is okay facing forward, or should that be also rear facing?
Gatorade is best in your tummy when you're
I feel like
hungover.
though, like what really pisses me off,
Yeah.
pisses me off and just gets my blood boiling, is that I am not even a parent. I don't have kids. I've never had kids. I don't know if I'll have them in the future. But even I know that you don't like if you don't do this shit. Like if you see
No.
if a kid is number one, what is the kid doing sleeping in the car? Like when you notice that, oh, I didn't want to wake her. Obviously, she's been there in the car for a while, unless you just brought her out
Well,
of
and
the house and she was
yeah,
asleep. But then you should put
yeah,
her, if you already have her there, you should put her in the fucking car seat.
yeah. Well, and kids, once they get into the car seat, they're just like conked out anyway.
Right.
Like
So
my kid is
either way,
6 and he still falls asleep in his seat all the time.
right. It sounds like he was saying that the child, he looked back and the child was asleep, so he didn't want to wake her. Well, either two things is wrong. Either he's lying, or if he brought her out of the house and she was asleep, he's obviously got her in his hands, asleep. He can just sit her in the car seat. Otherwise, why was the child sitting in that seat with enough time to
Right.
fall asleep? Ugh. Some people
What were
just
they
should not
doing
have
that he
kids.
was in the car that long? Exactly.
Right. Some people just should not have kids. I mean, really.
No.
Okay. Now we're going to go to the next story, and the next story is it is a bit of an interesting one. Police took a cancer-stricken toddler from his parents.
Oh,
Their
I've been
supporters-
covering this.
Yeah,
Wait, I've
it's
been covering this. Oh my God, I've been covering this massively on my page.
good. Then you can tell us about it. But I think this is an example of the police being heroes.
Yes, yes.
So
This
they
story
need to
is
be
insane.
applauded on this. But anyway, go ahead.
So if you're a follower of Without a Crystal Ball, I have written probably 5 articles on this already because this story is literally insane. The father is Joshua McAdams. The mother is Taylor Blandball. Joshua is a sovereign citizen and Taylor is a free birth. Taylor is a free birth person that like teaches women how to birth freely without any medical care, and she's not trained. She has no medical background, but she thinks that she has all this like expertise on medicine. And she runs this herbal training academy with her friend Desiree. The two of them are just like derpette and derpette 2. They give terrible advice. They are all over Facebook. She is such an attention loving, you know what, even before this was going. Yeah, she just loves attention, and she is like, and this is very much, she has turned this into a circus, an absolute circus, and more details are coming out all the time. Like today, someone in her family was accusing her of not even caring about her son, but we'll get there. So Noah is 3 years old, and he's diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. He's diagnosed in early April, and when he gets to the hospital in early April, his hemoglobin is 2 and he's almost dead. And they weren't going to take him to the hospital. It was his grandmother or his great grandmother that pushed them to take him to the hospital. And they of course are denying that. And then so they go to the hospital and I think he needed like 5 transfusions. And then he had to start chemotherapy, which they consented to. And he did 2 rounds of chemotherapy, not even like 2 full like rounds. He like did 2 medications or whatever. I don't even like 2 doses of chemotherapy.
They gave 2 treatments, but not 2
Yeah.
rounds, because a round is like what, like 6 or 7 treatments, or maybe even more.
Yeah. So he had 2 treatments, and after that, they checked his blood and he didn't have any in his blood, but they hadn't done any other testing. They hadn't checked his marrow because that's where it all hides. It hides in the marrow, it hides in the testicles, it hides like, because it starts from the blood marrow and then it spreads into the blood. So you can get it out of the blood faster than you can get it out of the blood marrow. But they don't usually test that until like 30 days after diagnosis. But the parents heard, oh, cancer free. And so then they just like took off and they were fighting with the doctors about what the next steps were. And so instead of like showing up to an appointment, they fled to Kentucky, and they didn't actually have like, they fled to Kentucky. And so the Department of Child Services had to get a order of protection, like for Noah to take him from the family. And they were going to do that as soon as he missed that appointment because they had been fighting with the hospital before they even like left about his treatment. And in the state of Florida, if your child has a life-threatening condition, and this is actually pretty standard around the country, if your child has a life-threatening condition, a parent cannot deny the medical care if it's life or death. And with acute leukemia, it's so aggressive that if he doesn't get treatment, he'll be dead within a couple months. So instead of like doing the leukemia treatment, they flee to Kentucky, which prompts a missing and endangered child, Bolo from Florida. They end up finding them in Kentucky. When they get to Kentucky, they say, oh, we're there for a second opinion. The parents haven't been arrested or anything, but Noah was removed from their custody. And on Facebook during that time, she's talking about how she's treating his cancer with caladial silver and apricot seeds and juice.
Fuck these parents.
Yeah.
Fuck these parents.
And now they have, so the states removed the care from the care. They had a custody case last week with where the judge actually placed him with grandma, not with mom and dad. And they are going to a second opinion, but the second opinion doctor is not an oncologist. He's actually a quack doctor from Florida that treats cancer with hyperbaric oxygen and alkaline diets and like all the wooey crap. And so it's very probable that even with the second opinion, the judge is not going to favor their choice and will probably like, if they keep fighting it, what's going to happen is they're going to end up losing custody, which has happened multiple times in cases like this across the country. There was actually just a case like this in New York where a woman named Candace Gunderson did the same thing where she was going to treat her son with like holistic crap. And she ended up getting her custody terminated by the court. So, but of course, Taylor and her husband are like attention whores, and they have turned this into a medical kidnapping thing. They've been interviewed by dozens of media outlets. They never look sad. They held a rally on Saturday outside of the hospital, and they were smiling. It was like anytime like the camera would pan on her, she would be smiling, and she's reveling in this like attention. And somebody from her family actually called her out today and was like, "Seems like you like the attention more than you actually like your son." And
let me just say, a lot of sovereign citizens are like this. They eat up being on camera, whether they're driving or traveling, trying to make that argument. They record it when they're in court. They are attention whores. But and the thing that pisses me about the story off is just because you're able to have sex with someone and that produces a child, that does not mean you have the right to do whatever the hell you want to with your kids. You don't.
Right.
I'm sorry, you don't. Florida proves that with that law. And if there is a case where they have like they're sick and they need some sort of treatment, it is your responsibility as a parent to protect that child. And it just makes me so mad that I don't even have kids and I know the right things to do in this situation, but you have two complete utter fuckheads that don't deserve a child. I hope that kid gets taken away and placed with someone that will appreciate that child and will take care and realize how precious that life is.
Yeah, and they've been like, your response has been pretty. I mean, initially, when in the very beginning, a lot of people were rallying around him, and they've got the whole sovereign citizen world, like, with them right now and raising money for them. But more and more, like, especially cancer parents are coming forward and telling her what an idiot she is and how little she actually understands about cancer. And survivors of cancer are coming forward and telling her, like, she's lying to people about what's going on with his cancer, and she's deceiving people about what she planned to do and how she thinks this is going to help, and that she's being arrogant, and not, like, she should lose custody because she's going to kill him if she doesn't. She's just being, like, super arrogant and, like, I know better than everyone else. And but even family members, like I said, are, like, calling her out now, and saying, like, you're not even telling people where you live. Tell people where you live. Tell people who supports you. Like, I guess they don't even live with their parent. Like, they live with her grandparents because they don't make enough money. And, like, the grandmother, like, supports them, I guess. And then, like, somebody else, another family member connected to the grandmother, was, like, calling her out too, and basically saying, like, who was it that actually got you to the hospital? Because you guys weren't going to take him to the hospital. Who was the one that forced you guys to go to the hospital? Why are you omitting facts? Why aren't you telling people about how he was sick for 3 weeks? Why aren't you telling people about how he was life flighted? Why aren't you telling people he was near death's door and doctors didn't even know he was going to survive? Why are you omitting all of it? Huh?
Is it you said is it the grandmother that the child is placed with now? Is that the same grandmother?
No, so it's her mom,
Okay,
not
good.
grandma.
Good.
No,
Okay.
but grandma was the one that forced them to go because she wouldn't. But the problem is that grandma, I found her, we've figured out who she is. She's got, like, free Noah all over her Facebook. So I don't know that she's that great of a resource either if she's thinking that he's been kidnapped, like.
Oh, I'm so pissed off, and we hadn't even gotten to the story, the main story.
I'm sorry. But so this is, like, what we've been saying on my channel is because they act like he's her property, right? They're like, my child, my choice, my child, my choice. So
No,
on Without a Christmas.
no, it's not. No, it's
Right.
not.
Yeah,
So
that
on my
child.
channel, what we're doing is we're going, kids are not property. Kids are
Right.
not property.
Right.
Right. They're people. They have
Mhm.
rights. They
They
have
do.
rights.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like my kid, my choice. No, if any idiot can reproduce, any fucking
Right.
moron can have sex with somebody and produce a kid.
Yep.
That is a huge difference from becoming a parent. A
Right.
sperm and egg donor is a long way away from being a good parent. To be a good parent, you have to do things in the best interest of the child. Some things
Yep.
you may disagree with. Tough
Yep.
fucking luck. And if you can't do it, then you need to step aside and give that child the best life they can possibly have by putting them with someone that will make those tough decisions and that will make sure that they aren't doing things to harm a child. Anybody
Yep.
can have a kid, but not everybody can be a decent fucking parent. And these two
Right.
are a couple of the worst idiots I've ever heard of in my life.
Oh yeah. And I
Fuck
think
them.
for me, it pisses me off because my son has life-threatening diseases, and, like, in one breath I can understand, like, that reluctance and that, like, the denial in the beginning, but at the same time, like, this whole arrogance of, like, and just, like, acting like this child is their property, and that they get to choose what happens to him because it's his child. I likened it to, an analogy I said would be like, that would be like saying to the state that I decide how to discipline my child includes smacking my kid with an iron, like pan. Like, that's how I
Oh,
discipline him. And because it's my kid. So my
no,
kid, my discipline, right?
no,
I mean, it's
no.
the same, right? You can't do that. So just because you decide that you're going to hit someone with an iron pan doesn't mean that you should be a parent. Just because you're going to
Although
deny chemo.
sure, and I'm glad that this kid is probably on his way out of these two, especially with the dad being a sovereign citizen. Those
Yeah.
kooky beliefs and the way that they turn the way that the law works and try to take advantage of they're just scummy people. And I hope this
every time
kid.
he talks, oh my God, every time he talks, he sounds like he speaks word salad.
Oh,
We
I'm sure.
watched a
That's all
video.
they do. That's all they do.
We,
And I hope that this
we
kid,
watched
like,
oh,
the kid's already had a horrible life so far with the disease that he's dealing with. Like, no kid should ever have to go through with that. And so I hope he gets put in a place where they can take care of him, and he can leave all of this dark shit behind. Like, he deserves that, I think.
thank you.
Okay, that will do it for this week in Nonsense News. I was going to sort of give a introduction to this, but I think that I'm just going to let the news video speak for itself. I want to warn you guys that it's shocking. It's going to make you angry. I was livid when I was on the Drunken Peasants, and they played this clip for us. And I've been fuming about it all weekend. And I texted Katie and said, "We've got to talk about this because this needs to get out there." So here you go.
A teacher with HIV accused of taking a student out of class and molesting him. For months, the I-Team has been looking into that allegation.
And now after 3 years, that teacher is charged with not only assaulting the student, but trying to have him killed. Investigative reporter PJ Randhawa was in court today as the teacher and his accomplice made a rare appearance.
Well, that teacher, Deonte Taylor, and his accomplice and lover, Michael Johnson, were in court today. Both of them have pled not guilty to a variety of very serious charges they're both facing. Police say while Taylor was working as a teacher's aide at Lusher Elementary in 2015, he molested one of his students, a 7-year-old boy. Charges were not filed, and Taylor went on to get other teaching jobs, finally landing in the Ferguson-Florissant School District. Were there any red flags when you checked out his background before he was hired?
Mr. Taylor went through the same process that all of our teaching candidates go through. Everyone goes through a criminal background check, a sexual abuse registry background check, and there was nothing that showed up on that.
Taylor was arrested in November of 2018 after his DNA was found to be a match to samples found on his former student. But months later, while behind bars awaiting trial, police say Taylor and his boyfriend, Michael Johnson, tried to hire a hitman to kill the child and his family. The I-Team also uncovered during that time, Taylor was still being paid by the Ferguson-Florissant School District. So he was behind bars, accused of molesting the student, and still getting a paycheck from the district.
He had an opportunity to have due process when those initial charges were filed.
That's
when the
not due
subsequent charges were filed,
process.
it became clear that he was not going to be returning, and at that time he was terminated.
Taylor is facing felony sodomy charges, while he and his accomplice face conspiracy to commit murder and witness tampering charges. Deonte's alleged victim is now 10 years old. He and his family have started up a GoFundMe page to cover some of the many expenses they say they've had over these difficult last 3 years. To visit that GoFundMe page, go to our website at ksdk.com and just look for this story. In Clayton, PJ Randhawa, 5 on your side.
Have something you want the I-Team to look into?
Now, I think it's was that KSDK? I believe it was. You can just search for it. You can search for in Google the GoFundMe for this. After the show's over, I'll link it in the description as well. But if anybody deserves it, I mean, my God, this kid deserves it. Just as a summary of this story. Deonte Taylor, who is 36 years old, he was charged 2 weeks ago in St. Louis with conspiring to commit murder and tampering with evidence. His 66-year-old boyfriend, Michael Johnson, faces the same charges after he agreed to pay for the hit. Taylor, who has HIV, was arrested in November for putting his penis inside the mouth of a then 7-year-old student in 2015. Inmate Taylor, he hired a hitman who became a confidential informant for the police. That's sort of an overview of this story. Now, there's so many layers to this. But first of all, Katie, do you have anything that you want to say off the top of the cuff?
Oh, well, the interesting thing I think I noted from the story was that he was actually arrested in the fall. I think it was in November maybe or September of 2018. And so the whole like conspiring to get him a hitman was while he was in jail. And And so he's already in prison or like in jail waiting for all of these things, and then he's gonna conspire to get a hitman. It's just, there's so, and then the HIV part.
Here's the thing. This is what's really gonna piss, this really infuriated me. Okay, just going through some of the things in here. Like Katie said, in November he was arrested. So between November and 2 weeks ago, he tried to hire a hitman to kill the kid and the kid's mom so that they couldn't testify in this case. Now, in 2015, Taylor was employed as a teacher's aide at Lusher Elementary School. The 36-year-old, who again has HIV, took the 7-year-old boy out of the classroom, escorting him to another room, an empty classroom, and put his penis in the child's mouth. Now, DNA was found on the boy's body and his clothing, but charges were not immediately filed on Taylor. And Taylor,
And the kid
well, let me just say this. From the time that Taylor committed this action, where the police found DNA on the kid, Taylor went on to get his teaching certificate. He went from a teacher's aide to became a teacher after doing this.
Yeah, and the kid reported it right away.
Right.
And then the police officer that was in charge of the case, like, left or retired, and then nobody took over the case.
That is unbelievable. If you have a 7-year-old kid, go to the police. Like, he reported it immediately after, and you find evidence on the child.
Yep.
And you do nothing. You let the perpetrator go on to become an actual teacher.
Yeah, and he was like put on, I think he was suspended or something while the investigation was ongoing, because he made like, literally the kid did everything right. He reported it right away. His mother reported it right away. And then I was reading that she actually followed up like 3 years later. And then they were like, oh yeah.
Yeah, we're getting there. The thing is, after he committed this crime, after the police had his DNA on this child, Taylor got a teaching certificate and went from Lusher Elementary, where this crime happened. He passed multiple background checks and was hired to teach 5th grade at Walnut Grove Elementary School.
Yep. In Ferguson, right?
Heads should fucking roll everywhere on this. Everybody that dropped the ball on this poor kid, it took 3 years. 3 years.
And Lord knows if he did anything while he was teaching at that other school. Like,
Exactly.
seriously, unreported cases are more common than reported cases.
Exactly. Taylor's arrest in November came after new undisclosed information came to light.
Which is bull crap. It's basically the mom followed up and called and was like, what the hell?
Exactly. And here's an interesting tidbit. Taylor's boyfriend, who was the guy that hired the hitman, was going to pay for the hitman, serves as the minister of music at Metropolitan Missionary Baptist Church.
Of course he does.
He's a minister. He's a fucking minister.
They're always the dirtiest. You know what surprised me about this more than anything is, I understand you would pass a background check because if he didn't have any criminal charges filed, it wouldn't be part of, if you don't have a conviction, it's not going to show up on your background check. But it seems to me there should be some sort of data, or some sort of place where criminal complaints could be housed against teachers, so that even if the charges were unsubstantiated, or at least like, so that could be like a red flag. So like, well, what's this about? Tell me what this is, you know, like the fact that like so he passed background checks, but did you call his former employer and ask them what happened?
It's so egregious. Like it's unbelievable. Like I can't even hardly sit still. Like it's so, none of this shit should ever happen ever.
Right.
If you again, going back to that, I don't have kids. I don't have a stake in this, but I know, or I can lay out a framework that will keep kids safer than the fucking people that we trust and we elect and that we pay to keep kids safe. If you have a complaint of a 7-year-old coming to you and saying, this is what happened, and you recover DNA from that child, and you don't flag that person, you don't have a system in place where future schools can in any way see that even an allegation was made against this teacher, there is no way in hell you should have ever received a license to teach or be hired in any case. You have an obligation and a duty to those kids first and foremost. And it pisses me off that I can make a better standard operating procedure to protect these kids than the fucking people who that's their one sole job. You have one job is to protect kids. And you mean to tell me that if an allegation is made against a teacher, you don't have a way that you can read up on that, or future employers can see where that allegation was made? Even if an allegation is made like that, you should investigate the fuck out of it before you bring them around kids, period.
You're right.
Oh.
I know.
So
you're like, I know you're livid, but like these are the kinds of cases I handle all the time. And I just have to say, none of this surprises me. Well, because of the way there's no reporting systems, and then the laws protect people so that employers can't tell you why you're the law protects like people from employers speaking badly or whatever, so they can't give information that would like prevent an employee from getting hired. And then, but in cases like this, there should be like wiggle room where a previous employer could be like, yeah.
You're damn right. Yeah, when it involves kids, I don't care what you have to change. I don't care. Do it. Get in there and write the shit that protects kids. It doesn't matter to me if this may potentially somewhere down the line harm somebody's cases of getting employed. That be damned. I'm sorry. That's second to bringing somebody in that could potentially harm a child. And if you have allegations made against you, then you should be looked at, because you're doing something that can be misconstrued as and I know that there are cases of people that where they get false reported on, or the student may be mad against the teacher, but I don't care about that. I'm sorry, I don't care. I'm worried about the kids, and if it screws over a couple people in the lead up to try to get to where we're somewhere where we can protect kids, I don't care. I'm sorry. That's second to kids getting abused like this, period.
I agree. It's atrocious.
And the police. Now, okay, so that's for the school system. The police.
Yeah.
What in the fuck were you doing in the 3 years when you had DNA from the perpetrator? What were you doing? What changed all of a sudden after 3 years where you were like, oh, well, I guess now we should do something about this? Did it really take a mother calling to remind you that this whole thing had happened? Are you that busy that a child getting raped is just put on, the back burner until somebody notices that, hey, the guy that raped my child is a 5th grade teacher? There's no telling. Go ahead.
You're learning something about the criminal justice system through this case. It's that rape victims are low priority. Nobody gives a shit about us. Like our cases are always like nobody cares.
Well, I guarantee you after this they're going to start caring, because there is no telling how many other children this guy has done this to. It to me, when I hear these cases, I don't see people commit an action like this one time and then just decide that they're gonna change. It probably happened over and over again to students who aren't as willing to come forward as this child in this case. And every one of those instances where that happened, it is the police fault and the school system's fault just as much as it is the perpetrator. They're all complicit in this now, because at some point between this happening and 2 weeks ago, there was ample opportunity for one of those two agencies to step in and do something about it, to stop it. But the ball was dropped somewhere, or people really didn't pay that close attention to it. And there may be more kids that have been harmed for the result of it. And I hope these parents find out, and I hope they sue the school board and that police department for every fucking dime that it has.
Yeah. It's so sad. Like, the police department's excuse that the detective like retired and then the case just got like lost is such a load of crap to me. Like,
they should take his retirement.
Yeah. Something's wrong with that police department. And what city was this in?
This was in St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, right outside of St. Louis, Missouri.
Which doesn't have the best police. I think we all remember Ferguson.
I think that I think if they're going to pin it on the detective that retired, then they need to take his pension, make him work in his retirement. There's no way we should be paying this man.
You can't pin it on him. Like, nobody took the file. Like, the after he leaves, the department has to like take his files and ensure that his files are assigned to new people.
Oh, I thought they said that I thought they were making it out to where he didn't he put the case, did something with the case where no one like was able to see, like they're trying to hang it up on him, like he retired and the case just got taken with his files or something like that.
No, from what I read, it was more like it just didn't get followed up on. Like, it wasn't like assigned, or it just got sort of, because he left, it wasn't like, it just sort of got lost in the mix because of all of the other cases that he probably had at the time, which isn't an excuse, especially high priority cases and like child rape, which are typically high priority cases for an agency. Especially when you have evidence and you have DNA, like those are pretty slam dunk stuff.
It should be. It should be. What's more priority than a child rape? What is more priority than that?
Homicide.
See, not to me. Not in my opinion. Not to me. I think that they're both bad, right? Homicides are bad, but this is raping a child. This is somebody that is still with us, that is going to be scarred for the rest of their life because of what somebody that they look up to and that they trusted and they're taught to respect did to them. To me, that is the top priority.
Yeah, it should be. Rape cases are never the top priority. I mean, unless it's a violent crime, and it's like someone was like beaten or something, and cops can like absolutely pin it to a perpetrator. Like, these types of cases, they are so low on the priorities because it's like the boy said versus the teacher said, and so the victims always end up getting like pushed underneath because like prosecutors don't want to deal with like hearsay cases. So this is not only just like the department not doing their job because they had the evidence, but it's just like so many different things. Like, I'm at a loss for words, to be honest.
Yeah. None of this should have happened, though.
No.
There's no reason. And the fact that this, like, now we talk. Now we move into what he could be potentially facing, and I was trying to find out what he's. They, in the news clip, they said that they got him for sodomy. Let me just look real quick. Deonte Taylor.
And I think attempted murder. Or
yeah, I think murder for hire.
Murder for hire.
I'm trying to see if it says what he's going to be facing.
Probably
he
facing
got
life.
two counts of conspiracy to commit murder, and 2 counts of tampering with a witness in felony prosecution. Trying to look at what he's facing. Just curious, anybody in the chat a lawyer? I just want to know if he if we can find out what he's facing.
Deonte Taylor, right?
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything where they lay out what he is actually facing. It should be made more egregious, I think, with the fact that he's got HIV. I think that should be like knowing that you have HIV. I know there are some laws in place where if you have sex with someone knowing that you have HIV,
it's attempted murder.
And well, yeah, and not disclosing it. But I don't think that you can't disclose this to a child. Like that to me is should make it egregious.
Consent can't be the ramifications
Correct.
of
Well,
HIV, and consent can't be granted because they can't even possibly know what it means to have HIV at that
Correct,
age.
yeah. I agree. I'm not seeing.
It looks like conspiracy to commit murder. I think it can be around 10 years.
10 years. I know that in one of the reports that I read, he's facing a minimum of 10.
Yeah.
But he won't make it 10 years.
No, well, felony like felony sodomy or child rape, those are usually like they can be up to life for those charges.
Oh, I'm just saying, even if they gave him 10 years, he won't make it there. As soon as they
inside-
put him in the general population
He'll get
at
prison
prison,
justice. Yeah,
he'll be taken care of.
People inside don't own well with people like that.
No, they don't.
A murderer
And I've
would
seen
kill
that.
somebody like that.
Yeah, I've seen what happens to people who are accused of harming kids on the inside. He won't make it. Even if they give him 5 years, he won't make it 5 years. Once the people that he's inside with catch wind of what he did, it's over for him.
Don't they usually like isolate them?
Usually they're supposed to. Now I'm not going to say that. And Godless Fighter Jet, I'm not talking about prison rape. He'll be probably beat to where he's not conscious anymore. But usually they're supposed to in those cases. A lot of times, though, you'll get to where after a certain period of time of isolation, the inmate will ask, let me into a general population. Although they're probably supposed to deny that request, they usually, because of what they are convicted of, get put in general population. And I would do the same thing in this case. I think that I'm not one to advocate violence in any situation. But it's a hard case for me, or it'd be a hard sell for me for anybody to argue that he shouldn't get exactly what's coming to him.
I know.
I know that's a really tough thing to say, but you know, I'm not going to advocate for it. If it happens, I'm not going to be sad.
You wouldn't shed a tear, is what you're saying.
Right. So that's the way that
Yeah.
goes.
Well, in some jails, they have to actually wear different colors if they're convicted of certain crimes.
I don't want to kill him, but I'd unplug his life support to charge my cell phone.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's just, you know, there are some people that just have what's coming to them coming, and that's the way that it is. All right.
He's just using up extra oxygen the rest of us could use.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Okay, so that's pretty much what we want to talk about tonight. We got enough time to take maybe 2 or 3 of your phone calls, though. So if you want to call 1-818. Dave, you're not using the
No, I
If
said
we're going to take phone calls, I'm going to step aside just for 1 second.
Sure.
I actually did set up call in studio. So
okay, good. Okay, so we've got a new system in place that I think is going to work a lot better than the last one we did. This is we're using a sort of a digital call-in studio. When you call this number now, you will be prompted to leave your name and what you want to say. That's then transcribed, and Dave can see on the main screen who's calling in and what they want to talk about, and then he's able to sort of pick the order that we go in. And the number that you can call in, we can have 5 people on the line at the same time. You'll be able to hear the show from the number that you dial, so you'll just keep that in mind. But that number is 1313 NonSec1. That's 1313 NonSec1. That's 313-666-7371. 313-666.
Number is on screen right now.
Yeah, right. Cool. Right below us. So yeah, we have enough time to take 2 or 3 of those calls. So
I've seen what you guys do with this, and it got me to like do this on my show. It's so fun.
Yeah, I noticed that you do that. Do you enjoy it?
I let them. Yeah. A couple of nights, or one time, this totally random guy called that's like, "Oh, I just saw that you were live and you were talking about something," and then he starts going on and on and on about like women should just like live at like home and like traditional marriage and.
Oh wow, what's been the craziest call that you've gotten?
It's usually just my followers or my subscribers that call for the most part. But that was probably one of like the crazier ones where he's just like talking about how he doesn't like, women should just be at home and marriages are all going to hell and I just have some randos. A lot of the calls for the most part have been people wanting to talk more about like disability advocacy and that kind of stuff, which I didn't even realize was like, but I guess with some of the pseudoscience I cover, I'm sure a lot of people that have disabilities follow because they get offered it so much.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even occur to me that they did until they started calling in, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Dave, anybody called yet?
No, they haven't. Do they need the
What
show
the
number?
heck?
Oh wait, we got
No, they
someone.
shouldn't.
Hold on. Give him a sec to screen.
Yeah.
This
There may be a
like-
couple.
It's
a
nice
couple
having a
kinks too.
screener.
I
Yeah.
was hoping, it would be like someone that like Larry Cook or,
Right. Danny,
Someone I-
Sunfruit Danny.
Yeah, or Danny or something.
Okay, the
Cartoon
caller skips the auto screen, so we're just gonna have to take this person blind. You ready?
Yeah. How do you skip the auto screen?
Probably just by not
Can't do
talking. Well, no, wait.
Who are we talking to?
It actually hung up on him, so it
Hello?
didn't let him through because he skipped the screen. So he's not there.
I need to like get a screener because I never know who's calling or what it is.
Yeah. Maybe just usually when we do this, there's a ton of people calling in. Maybe just nobody wants to.
What the
Maybe
hell?
they're afraid of
Come on,
the
guys.
666. It could be funny. You know, it's that's not a that's actually how you spell NON on a phone. So it just happened to work out that way. I think it was meant to be, but yeah, 666 is the dial number on that.
Okay, we're about to have Douglas. He wants to just say hi. Appreciate the crucial because of being 45 years in the closet atheist. I think he means 45. Yellow, the one that helped me out and become part of it. So he wants to talk about coming out as an atheist.
Okay. Hey, Doug.
Cool.
Hey, Doug.
Hi, Doug. No,
Doug, you
Doug.
there? Oh,
I hear
there's
you, Doug.
something.
Doug, you there?
Doug.
Hi, Doug.
I don't think Doug's there.
Doug's like, peace out, Doug. I hear him.
No, Doug. I hear Doug. All right. If there's a next one, Dave, just go to the next one.
Doug's
We
a
can't hear
mouth
Doug.
breather.
Doug, you there?
Hello?
Hey, Doug.
Hi, Doug.
Hey, I was just calling to say that, before I found the NonSequitur show, that I was in the closet as an atheist for about 5 to 6 years. And I never had the strength or the conviction to come out to people. I always, cowered to their questions when it came to religion and things like that. But lately, when family or friends would come out and ask me about these things, I have more, I have more answers to their questions, and I have more ways to combat their religious questions. And that has put me into a better state than I've been in my whole life.
Oh,
good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. It was the same way for me for a while too. It's really, it was almost easier coming out gay than it was being atheist. And a lot of some people in my family still don't know that I am an atheist, and that's because for whatever reason, religion is so ingrained in people, and they're taught that anybody that goes against that are just, they're evil.
Bad
All they want to do is sin. They have no morals, and this bullshit is believed by people of faith. And the moment that someone that either they care about, or is that a family member comes and says they don't believe anymore, instantly all of those labels and all of that misinformation that has been sort of just, they've been saturated with for years and years and years, just comes flooding out. And they're like, how in the world can somebody that I love and care about, somebody that's in my family, be this evil, be this this immoral, not believe that we are here by some divine creator? So it takes a lot of a lot of bravery to be able to stand up against that. And I am so happy to hear that you are at that point now, because it will only get easier as you become more, confident in the arguments, and more just not really giving a fuck what they think of you, because you can't. You have to be you. The worst thing that I ever did in my life was live my life for other people instead of myself.
Yeah, same.
And yeah, I mean, because I'll tell you where I am. I'm in New Orleans. Louisiana is a very red state. It's a very Christian state, and where I'm at is a very Catholic heavy area.
Mhm.
So dealing with those growing up, going through college and being forced to live under parents like, well, if I'm going to pay for your college, then you're going to go to church. Those kind of things.
Right.
And
Did you
making
grow
me
up Catholic?
go to college was learning the sciences that I started doubting all this stuff to begin with. So it was a very hard thing, and it was a very crazy place to be in. But I kept it all quiet, into the fact that when I started listening to people's testimonies, and testimony is a weird word to describe that as, because that's a religious kind of word, but listening to the people coming out and being happier, which, coming out as atheist has made me a whole lot happier, and have made the people in my life know where I stand.
Right. That's a good feeling too. You shouldn't have to hide who you are. And how have people taken it when you've sort of come out, or let them know where you stand? What's the reception been?
So, a lot of the people I worked with, I guess, kind of already knew that, just because of my comments on different topics and things like that. It's been a strange situation, because the weird thing with my mom was, she's only as Catholic now because when, down here, like, Catholic schools are the only education you can get. Like, private schools or public schools are not that great. So in order to, get a quote-unquote good education for your child, you have to send them to a Catholic school, which includes having to go to church, which includes the whole, like, guilt trip of, like, oh, well, you're in church, why isn't your parents in church? So I guilt tripped my mother until her coming to church and kind of becoming a born-again Catholic. She wasn't really Catholic when I started going to Catholic school. So when I became an atheist, that was kind of her, like she exclaimed it as her biggest failing as a mother. My father, on the other hand, like, his views are really, really weird. Like, he doesn't go for the God thing, but he doesn't completely go for the atheist thing. He's in a state of limbo where he doesn't really agree with anything, but he doesn't really subscribe to anything. Like, he agrees with evolution, but he doesn't think it's the end all be all. He
He's
agrees
a
with
Macraeist.
Big Bang, but he doesn't think that it could describe everything.
He's a Macraeist.
Yes.
Good deal.
Yes.
Good deal.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, like, the sad thing is, today, and it's getting better. I think it's getting a lot better, especially with like the atheist YouTube community. I think does a really good job of sort of diminishing that that stereotype and the stigma that's associated with the word atheist, because that's all that it is. If you if you describe yourself as a humanist and tell somebody what you are, what you sort of the life, the way that you live your life, people will be okay with that. It's for whatever reason, atheist just has this. It's the scarlet A. People just have this stigma like, oh, you're an atheist, even though you want less discrimination against people. You're for people's rights and the better treatment and doing the least amount of harm against anybody. Stay away. But that's literally the logic. They think that atheists are these evil, satanic, devil worshiping, baby eating, immoral people, and that's just not the case. And a lot of it doesn't really have to do with how you live your life, but the word itself. What's that, Katie?
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of atheists are humanists. Like I feel like a lot of atheists are very progressive and like accepting. And I grew up Catholic, so I know what he's talking about. But I mean,
she's in my ballpark.
Yeah, I grew my grandfather's funeral was a priest telling us that we were all going to hell and my grandfather would be stuck in purgatory because we don't go to church.
Right.
Yeah.
And I eat. Somebody in the chat said I eat barbecue babies. They're better with honey mustard or ranch. Much better.
I like Chipotle ranch personally.
Cinnamon toast babies are the best though.
Oh man!
Look, y'all got nothing on Cajun spices. All right.
Not in a car.
I don't know how I feel about this conversation going about which way we prefer to eat babies anymore. But
I mean, you can basically substitute that for pork, right?
Right. Absolutely. Doug, was there anything else that we're gonna try to get to?
No, I just wanted to call in and give y'all just let y'all know that where I'm at today is a lot in credit due to y'all.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's really good to hear. It makes it all worthwhile. I love what we do here, but hearing things like that makes it even sweeter. So I appreciate you calling in.
All right, Kyle. Good luck to you, Katie. I'm so glad that Jillian's bullshit was struck down, and I hope you can contribute to further Woo banishment.
We're gonna keep going.
Absolutely.
Every day.
All right, Doug.
Thank you so much.
All right. Later,
Doug. And let me just add this real then. Okay. All right. So we got time for.
I'm like an atheist that doesn't really talk about being an atheist. I just like live my life as an atheist. My channel, we don't talk. I'm not like, and it's not because I don't like to talk about atheism. It's just more like, to me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me that I'm an atheist. It's just like, I don't believe in God. I don't need to debate why I don't believe in God. I don't need to talk about why I don't believe in God. Sometimes I do, but
there's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody that's atheist has to be an activist for it. There are. It's not something that people like. There's no blanket generalization you can make about atheists. There's no well, this person should indicate anyway how this atheist act. The only thing that unites atheists is the fact that we don't believe in God. That's it. Everything else is you can have really good atheists. You can have bigoted atheists, like we saw with Emperor Atheist. Being an atheist does not make you some hero for morality or a communist baby eater. There's only one thing that unites. Go ahead.
Well, working for Pathio is where there's like so many atheist writers and thought leaders of atheism. Because there's so many like high profile atheists that have written there and continue to write there, that I always sort of joke with some of my colleagues. And I'm always like, I don't want to be an atheist thought leader. And one of my colleagues, Jack, who writes about the Satanic Temple, he was just like, you're like the atheist that's like, I'm going to write about whatever the fuck I want. And I'm like, yep.
Yeah. But not everybody has to be an atheist activist. You can be an atheist and and do something
I'm like a
completely
child.
outside of
I'm
the
a-
religion aspect.
Yeah, I'm like a humanist before anything, and I'm just like an advocate against abuse and against, scam and fraud. And that is really what motivates me. And I just see that there's so much scamming and abuse in the churches. So that's sort of how that gets weaved into the world in pathos. Because cults are they're all cults. Even pseudoscience, it's cults, So any sort of controlled thought process is just detrimental. And I don't want to get stuck in an echo chamber with other atheists being like, we're all atheists, we're all good, like you were just saying before.
Right.
We have another caller, by the way.
Okay, we'll make this the last call, and then I've got you're going to want to stick around right in between this call and super chats. I'm starting a new segment that I'm having a lot of fun with. It involves Grindr, so you're going to want to stick around and find out what that's all about after this call. But who do we have on the line now?
Oh my God.
Well, we have someone that they just said they're me. People, if you're going to call, I don't know who your phone number is or who your name is. I can't screen you properly if you just say it's me. So it's a mystery caller, but they want to talk about their smug.
Oh, that's got to be Smitty.
Hey.
Smitty.
Hi, Smitty.
Hello? Hey, what's up?
I knew it had to be you. It's finally cool to put a voice with the dickhead that's in the chat.
You should have been watching Katie's channel more. I've already called her twice.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Smitty called me twice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to finally meet you, Smitty. You got your smug?
Yeah, it's got Steve's face on one side that says "Thanks, Smitty" and his eyebrows. And it's got the definition of smug on the other side, the ability to remain confident in your position despite literally everyone saying you're wrong. And then kind of in the middle of that, it has that definition again with Steve's head plastered over it for some reason.
Oh, really? That must have been a take a picture of it and email that to me.
All right.
If it fucked up,
but
then, I'll send you another one.
It's cool, man. Like, whatever. No, it's whatever. Yeah. I have
So what's going on,
misprints become collector's items and shit.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's definitely the best $15 cup I ever bought.
Nice.
I need to get Riley one too, so we can match.
Yep. I was gonna say, Riley, I can't believe it's not the same without you. You need to be on like a conference call with Smitty, so it's normal. Usually, you two are
yeah.
right there together.
Riley actually showed up on my channel.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
What's that?
Yep.
Riley's cool
Riley
too.
got
Smitty,
Riley.
let me ask you this, Smitty. Do you have anything that you wanted to add about what we heard tonight, or I see that there's a heated discussion going on in the chat. Do you want to sort of talk about that?
Oh, I don't know, not really. I mean, I guess everybody was saying like, man, I wish I could like kill these like child molesters and stuff, and I'm basically just saying like, I'm against the death penalty. But you know, I'm sure half of them are just like how mad they are, like metaphorically and whatnot. But it wouldn't like.
I'm against the. Yeah, I'm with you there. I agree. I'm against the death penalty too. I think that it and it is an emotional argument to say that you want somebody killed like that. It is completely emotional, but I think that it just comes from that raw nerve. People get when it comes to harming kids.
Yeah, I mean that's perfect. That's perfectly understandable. I mean, if you're gonna, that's one thing you kind of make sense to get mad about. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think people like that are just like sick in the head, and like once you take them away from people that they're a threat to anymore, then after that, then killing them is just like revenge. And I'm not a Christian, so I don't really believe in revenge.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. What, if anything, is there like an issue that you have with I was going to ask this. I forgot I was going to ask you now. My mind just went blank. What do you call in? What do you and Katie talk about when you call in?
We talked about Bernie Sanders, and he was like schooling me about Bernie Sanders.
Are you a Bernie fan?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, totally for Bernie. Katie could not believe it when I said I don't like Obama.
Oh God, and he wouldn't let me get a word in edgewise. He was just like, no, Obama.
Yeah, I'm with you, Smitty. I did. Everybody's like, you didn't
Yeah,
vote for Obama? No, I didn't vote for Obama. I didn't vote for McCain or whatever, whoever the hell else he was going against. Romney.
Oh, see, I love Obama.
I didn't vote for any of them people.
Not that
I love
my book.
Obama.
I was not.
How do you feel
pleased.
about Biden's chances?
His chances? Oh, he's gonna flop.
You think?
Because he's not really likable.
He's
And
not
he
in
doesn't even
touch.
know. Like Kamala Harris is gonna be the. I think Kamala Harris is gonna be the corporatist puppet that the Democrats try to push against Bernie, because she's like smart enough to know to pretend to be liberal, because everybody agrees with liberalism now. Like Fox News had a poll where over 50% of their viewers want Medicare for all. So yeah, Kamala's smart enough to know to pretend to be liberal, and Biden is still is like pushing public option. It's like, no, we're way past that, dude. And he's like weird, dude. When I first heard about him being like handsy, I thought it was kind of like he was saying, like he's just like doesn't get personal space. But those pictures I've seen are not cool, man. He's like smelling people's hair and like putting his hands on kids' chests and shit. It's bad, real bad.
Yeah, well, I think he's just
you don't smell people's hair.
Out of touch. He's just out of touch with how he like interacts
No.
with people.
He knows what he's doing. He's getting away with smelling people's hair.
No,
because it's like
Smitty.
a situation where they can't cause trouble and shit. Kyle, before I
Smitty.
send you the pictures of the smug, I'm gonna send you pictures of Joe Biden. just Google creepy Uncle Joe or handsy Uncle Joe, and just browse through his pictures, and you tell me you don't see any of them that you're like, oh, this is just where he's got his hand around your shoulder and it's a little awkward. It's not like that.
I don't think it comes from an evil place, though. It's just a creepy.
I can't get behind. I already told Smitty that I can't get behind Bernie, because Bernie is super into woo and he's very into pseudoscience. And
I mean, he's super into it, but the only person I've heard that from is you. So I feel like he's like,
oh my God,
he's like a hippie that likes acupuncture, and you're kind of blowing it up, to be honest.
Smitty, come on.
Wait.
I don't agree. To be clear, I don't agree with acupuncture and all that crap. But, you know, Obama was a Christian. He believed a man rose from the dead, and you don't care about that. He's not pushing it in his platform, so it's a non-issue for me.
Katie, hold on. People, we need to figure out, what woo does Bernie believe in? Somebody tell me, what woo does Bernie believe in?
Well, Bernie has a long history of woo. I mean, he has talked about in the past, like, cancer isn't really like, it's because of what you eat, and he pushes for like acupuncture and for like alternative. He wants alternative like health options for like veterans and stuff, and like he's very against, like, he's been very against like sort of modern medicine options. And you don't have to look that hard. He has made so many statements about it throughout his billions of years that he's been in the public eye. It's just that nobody's writing about it, and everyone wants to get on board with him. And I'm not on board with someone who's 78 years old.
Yeah, well,
like
I agree. That's like a pretty dumb private belief that he has. But until it's, are you talking, Kyle? My sound's kind of like iffy.
No.
Well, yeah, that's like, I definitely don't agree with that, you know. But as far as I know, the only medical thing he's pushing is for the government to pay for people's health insurance, and then their doctor tells them what treatments they get. So, yeah.
I don't see a problem with acupuncture. Like, I don't see an issue with that. The
thing with acupuncture is that it just like relaxes you like a massage or like chiropractic. So as long as you're not actually using it, if you're just using it as like a hippie way to relax, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if you're using it to like treat anything, or you know, basically you need to go to the doctor all the time. And that's what Bernie is pushing for, is for people to have health insurance so they can go to the doctor all the time. And then their doctor tells them what to do.
I get behind that.
You know, to me, that's like a dumb belief. I agree with Katie, but then, I mean, Barack Obama believed that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. So,
I'm in Smitty on this. Like, I like Bernie and I like Andrew Yang. I like those two, Andrew Yang and Bernie.
You like who?
Yeah,
Andrew Yang and Bernie.
Andrew Yang. It sounds kind of like being a little skippy, I think, on my end.
Andrew, you should look at Andrew Yang, Smitty. You really should.
You'd like Andrew Yang.
Oh yeah, I actually don't like him.
Of
He's
course.
too libertarian. As far as I know, he's proposing the UBI, but then he wants to cut benefits too. So I'm not super versed on him, but I kind of, who did I watch?
I'm
either
very
Rational National or Feminist Report. But yeah, I don't believe in a UBI unless it's you craft some sort of way so that it's you don't get a net benefits loss, so that you wouldn't have as far as I know, the only people who are flailing or failing or whatever on Medicare for All are Tulsi and Bernie. So I'm pretty much dead set on them. I'm down with Andrew Yang getting on the stage and bringing up UBI, but he seems like kind of more of a libertarian entrepreneurial type than what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more of a public servant, like Bernie Sanders.
Gotcha.
I am going to say very probably controversial, but I have a child that has 13 doctors, and universal health care run through the government does absolutely nothing to make me excited, because Canada has it and people have to wait years to see a specialist, and that's insane. I don't. There's not, and there's good and bad things with it. There's things that are with our healthcare that are we're very much used to.
Yeah,
and so
I don't know if I trust that, Katie, because that's not. I've been kind of hearing the opposite of that, but
no, I have plenty of friends that live in Canada. I'm very connected in the illness world, and I know that people have to wait a long time. They have to get approved through the government for surgery. It's a very different experience.
Riley's telling me that she's Canadian. Her healthcare system works fine. So that settles it for me. Riley says it, and I believe it.
Oh, Riley's spoken. Well, Speedy, we've got to close out because I've got one more segment that we need to get to. But thank you for calling in. It's nice to finally meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So we'll say goodbye
All right, I'll call in
to
again
Smitty.
some other time.
Okay, cool. So recently I decided to I've let a lot of people know. I decided a couple weeks ago that I was going to jump back in headfirst to the dating world. And so what I did.
What?
Yeah.
Where's your boy?
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But I've jumped back into the dating world. Yes. And I downloaded every single dating app that's out there, and I wanted to see which one would produce the best sort of potential dates. And I've been chronicling my journey through this, and some of my close friends, I've been sending some screenshots with some some back and forth that I've had, and everybody seems to find them really funny. So the best ones come from Grindr, which is not really a dating app so much as it's used to.
That's a hookup app, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a hookup app.
Yeah.
But that I could be objective, I downloaded all of them, and I don't use it for hooking up. But
is Grindr specifically for gay men, or?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start the Kyle's Adventures in Grinderland, because I get so many of the best conversations ever in the Grindr message box, and I decided that I'm going to share, because we're all like family here. I decided I'm going to share those with you guys when I get good ones. So I've got three tonight, and what really makes this great is because we were talking about eating babies a minute ago. So our first message is on the screen. Our first message says, I got this random message. Would you eat a tiny 2-inch person alive and fully aware for $100 million? And I responded with, can I dip them in ranch?
Oh no.
Now, this next one I was really proud of. Okay. He starts off with, Dave, I want your pipe, bro. And I said, can you handle it like Mario? And he says, fuck yes, can I see it? And so I sent him a picture of my pipe. I was pretty proud of that.
Oh, you're such a nerd. I love you.
And we'll go for this. We'll go for the last one. This one was kind of interesting. The message just reads, aren't you from that non-sex show?
That's just the one you should probably ignore.
Oh,
I did.
no.
I didn't say anything. I was like, oh no. Oh no.
I can neither confirm or deny that I work for NonSequitur show.
Yeah, but don't worry though. I have right now I have 42 of messages like this, and we'll probably do 3 or 4 every night, just so that's how we'll end the show before we get to super chats.
I love
but yeah,
that.
Kyle's Adventures in Grinderland.
I love that.
Someone recognized me from the show. I was like, oh man.
You have like cute messages, and I get like messages that I just found in my inbox that say, hold on.
There's nothing. Well, what's cute
You
about?
You are worthless. This is literally in my inbox right now. You are worthless. Your intention is clear. You're just trying to get them to shut down so they can't have a voice. You don't understand what's really going on. You're a buffoon and an idiot.
Katie, to be fair though,
rear end. What?
To be fair though, Katie, to be fair, that's on your inbox from where they know you from the internet. If you just opened up an account like on a like her, which is a dating app for based around women, you wouldn't get these because they don't know. You know, like you would get a lot of good like, hey girl, you're hot. Can I have your number? You know what I mean? Like whatever kids say nowadays.
I always, I
hey,
get really nice. I get my nice lesbian like flirting with Christy. Christy always wants to like give me tongue kisses with her.
I would take her up on that.
I know. She's gorgeous.
And record it and send it to me. Okay. So, but yeah, after doing this, I've gotten like on it's interesting because like Bumble is really good. I get a lot of messages from Bumble. On Tinder, I have 600 and some matches that it's impossible to get through everybody on Tinder. And I've been on 2 dates with 2 guys that I met on Tinder. One was very good, one was not. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I fear we're in everything else that we do together. So why not be through my dating life, updating you guys on.
Oh, I'm gonna live vicariously through you because I have been with my husband for 10 years. So I love my husband. It's just very different when you've been married for 10 years.
Sure. May Bowen, I'm sure that I guess a case could be. Here's the thing about sexuality that and relationships that confuses me because I've never really gotten a straight answer from this. May asked the question, "Are you sure you're not bi?" I can have sex with women and men. Like I can do both. It's not that I can only do one or the other. I'm only romantically like interested in men. Like I don't want a relationship with
this is where you and I get each other because I'm the same way. I could totally do it with both, but I do not want to be in a relationship with a woman.
Right. And that's the thing. Like I don't like if it's like I don't want a relationship with a woman. I don't consider myself bi because in speaking in like general terms, I am regardless of what you may think, I am not some sort of whoremonger that sleeps with anything out there. Like I'm actively seeking on these things like a steady relationship. And in terms of like asking what my preference is or what who I'm looking to have a relationship with, it's always going to be a man. Now, if I'm drunk somewhere and a really hot girl comes up and things just happen, that has happened too. So it's not that I I can only have sex with men and I can't get, turned on by women, because that's not the case. But I only want to pursue a relationship with.
And see, there's
man.
some, there's some, I had one of my best friends, when I was in college, was gay, and you would even just say vagina, and he would squeal, and he's like, my penis is limp.
Oh God. Yeah, that happens. The thing about sexuality is that, for some reason, people are scared to really dive into it, talk about it, or a lot of people are, and I don't see that. I think it's a healthy thing to talk about it, because it's something that everybody goes through. We all have our preferences, and it's just with today, the way that today is going, there are way too many different preferences for you to be able to just sandwich someone in one word, like bi or gay, because it could be a lot more. It could be a lot more complex than that. There are different things that people are attracted to inanimate objects. There are people who have sex with things that don't move. And an interesting thing is that, and I'm trying to set this up now. Paul and I had a long conversation the other night at Faithless Forum about this topic. He was telling me that there are sex robot brothels that are coming to Canada, and he wanted to pick my brain about the moral implications, or is that going to cause any sort of moral ramifications from that? And so I'm actually going to get somebody to come in to speak to that, and we're going to bring Paula G on. But what I found out in the course of looking through this is that, did you know, in this country, you can be a minor at any age in certain states and be married to someone who is, whether it be in their 30s, 40s, or 50s, they can marry a child with parental consent at any age.
Yep. Super effed up.
Why there are, I'm gonna get pissed off again. There are state legislations that have made laws such as you can't have your alligator chained to a fucking fire hydrant on Sunday, and they work to take those out. Why has no one looked at the law that says if I have a kid, I can? Why are we so quick to put kids in harm's way in this fucking country?
Well, remember what's Courtney Stodden, and she married that Doug guy, and he was 57 and she was 16.
I don't get it.
And her mom.
This is
And her mom.
This is at any age, though. This is at any age. At any age, you can. The law doesn't, in some states, doesn't specify what age they have to be. As long as the parents sign off on it, it's fine.
I love your statistics. Your brain. Can I just be attracted to Kyle? Just kidding.
No one has ever said that. I love your brain. No one's ever said that to me.
I love your brain. I do.
Why is that?
I just love how you think about things and analyze things. I don't know. I love when you get feisty about stuff and you get angry and heated. But then I also love that you can drop statistics, all the states that have these random laws. I love that.
It pisses me off. Human stupidity never ceases to amaze me.
I know. See, no one ever says you love your brain because you're surrounded by the smart science nerds, right? But everyone has their own intellectual intelligence and their own gifts.
Right.
And
I'm usually surrounded by extremely smart people, so my brain can't shine as bright.
Oh, but you have different strengths than them.
It's okay. Look, I know where my brain stands.
If I were surrounded by those kinds of people too, they would just be like, well, you're just the pretty one, because I don't think about science. I mean, I write about debunking it, but even how I write about debunking science isn't how Jeff or Miles do. I don't go into the science of it. Those guys dig into it,
Here's the thing, and this is why, this is exactly why I have all these smart people on the show. I'm not ever, and I never have, and I never will try to act like I know something that I don't. I don't understand people like that. It gets on my nerves when people are like that. I know certain things about certain areas that I'm interested in, and there's a lot more that I don't know. And to me, it's a lot of fun having those people on the show to be able to sort of learn, because I learn something new every day. But I'm not one of these people who's going to come on and pretend that I know.
You're a thirsty sponge. And you love doing these investigations with me into the depths of despair.
Yeah. Well, because I think that at the end of the day, somebody at the forum asked this question directly at the panel. Interestingly enough, when it came time for audience questions and answers, out of the four of us, I think the majority of them were aimed at Shannon and I. Were asking like how we keep our patience, why we do what we do, and it's because like at the end of the day, a lot of these things are like car crashes. They're horrible. They're horrific, but people can't look away, and they shouldn't look away, because things like these are happening. Like in this small community that we learned about tonight, this police department in this school dropped the ball big time, and people need to know that so that maybe they can start looking more closely at their communities or whatever they're involved in. I know. These things need a lot, and a lot of things can change. Like with the incel thing, Shannon brought somebody over to the good side, brought them out of that horrible place. And even if we did 900 shows on incels and one person was taken out of that awful forum, that's worth it to me. So
that's why I do what I do. That's why I do what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I do all these like stories about crazy births and babies dying, and people are always like, God, why do you write all these depressing stories? And I'm like, because I don't want women to fall into these traps and believe this crap. And true informed consent means that you understand that the stuff that these people are selling you is lies, and babies shouldn't die needlessly. Or, why do you cover so much child abuse? Because children have no voice. So who is going to be their voice?
Sure. I don't I'm glad that we do have the best live chat on YouTube, hands down. I'm glad that they dig what I do and what we talk about. And I'm going to say things sometimes that some people agree with, and some people it really makes them angry. And I know that going into it, and I'm okay with that. I'm not here to sort of pander to anyone. There are times where I'm right, and there are times where I'm wrong. And like with the Sphinx thing, I'm at least honest enough to come back and say, I was incorrect. I give up. That makes sense to me. So I do practice what I preach. Whenever I have conversations with flat earthers, and I tell them, I expect them to sort of see where I'm going, or not me, but see where the people who know what they're talking about say, and that why the earth isn't flat. I do expect them to be like, well, you're right. There's no way what I said can have any seriousness, because I've done it. I had a conspiracy that I loved, and it was heartbreaking to let go of. But you have to be, honest at the end of the day, and or you don't have to be, but I have to think that's important. Okay.
I was in love with organic food and with organic food and crystals.
Yeah, the crystals thing was funny. I used to sleep with a crystal on my chest. No, you didn't.
I know that.
I thought you were joking.
That episode, and you're like, I don't even know who you are.
I didn't that day. It was heartbreaking. It was like I guess it was like, when my family my family learned I was an atheist, I had that same reaction. You slept with a crystal? And it was a rock, not a person named Crystal? I guess I get it now without a crystal ball. I guess it makes sense now.
Well, no, without a crystal ball, you know where that comes from. It's when my son was born, he was born with a rare disease, and doctors would always just say, we would say, well, what's his prognosis? What's going to happen? And they'd always say, well, we don't have a crystal ball. And so we started sort of living this life without a crystal ball where we didn't know what was next. And through that like mindset, it kind of helped me learn how to embrace life in a completely different way and just know that like life is like ever changing and you have to just kind of deal with the adversity and obstacles that come your way.
Cool story, bro. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
So it's
Okay.
all about just going with the flow.
That's all you can do. Brandon Smith says, thanks for the show. It gets me through work. You're welcome. Tired Atheist, much love from the Tired Atheist. Much love back to you. Cajun Crustacean, super chat with no message. DePooch, super chat with no message. Thank you both. My Unfinished Journey, love to Without a Crystal Ball from Minneapolis.
Aww.
Tired Atheist, another super chat, no message. My Unfinished Journey. Are the parents' names Josh Dunning and Taylor Kruger? Nice. I see what you did there.
You know what's funny? I just think that's really funny because one of their supporters came onto my Facebook page and they were like attacking me and they were going on and on and on about how he didn't have cancer and how like you could just use caladial silver and apricot seeds. And they just were like, you just need to understand science, Katie. And my only response was like, okay, Dunning-Kruger. And their response to me was, fuck you, cunt.
Nice. I like people know about the dumpster fryer character that I made, and they don't know about the other one that I made. Actually, maybe I'll send Dave a picture of it if I still have one. But so I made another one that I was going to do for Halloween, and then we got tied up with something else that I had to choose between either working on that or working on this doing the video. We did the Why It's Good to Be Skeptic video, and so that took up that time. But I had this character for Halloween. I was really happy with it because I think it turned out well. And
I like
basically
videos.
The basis of this character was sort of a mock on Freddy Krueger, but his name was. Tell me I still have that. His name. Oh, there he is. I'm gonna send this to Dave so he can put it on there. I basically was going to do a video on pseudoscience and people like Jilly and the Miracle Mineral Solution guy and Danny.
Danny.
Whoops. Where's Dave at? Oh, sorry guys. I'm trying to just do this real quick. There we go. All right, Dave. There's that. We'll put him on the screen. So I was going to do where these. It was sort of like a mock on Freddy Krueger, but his name was going to be Dunning-Kruger, and instead of you'll get to see him here in a second. Instead of the knife hand, he had a hand made of anti-vaccine syringes. For Jilly Juice, his face was not burnt, but it instead was a piece of cabbage. It was like a shriveled cabbage leaf.
There you go, right there.
Yeah, cool. And then he had like an airplane propeller hat, but he was just going to be a really stupid version of Freddy Krueger. But then I got carried away with that other video and didn't get to do it.
That's funny. That's funny.
I was pretty happy with it. Maybe next year he'll make an appearance, or this year.
Put him like you gotta wrap ginger around them, and they love to stick garlic on their cooches when they have bacterial infection.
I'll have his teeth made of crystals, and then he can have an anti-gay tampon suppository. My Unfinished Journey says, Dennis Tuttle says, I don't get it. What the F? We don't either. Godless fighter jet, so fuck religion, right? Absolutely. Mr. Meat Lover 666, did someone call? Yes, 3 people did. And maybe you can next time. My Unfinished Journey, I always thought atheists were mean, nasty people who ate puppies for breakfast. When I first left the Christian faith, I was surprised to not have any hankering for cinnamon toast puppy crunch. Puppies as an appetizer? Yeah. Cool. That's a good story. I think that's the way that it goes for most people. Most people do too. Mr. Meat Lover 666. Kyle, is it a quest to find Steve Anderson's secret Grinder account? Listen, if I found Steven Anderson on Grinder, I would be I would actually go through with the meetup, and I would have hidden cameras everywhere, and I would bust the ever living shit out of him. I'd probably punch him too when he came in. That's probably the first thing. Before I even spoke to him, I'd probably just hit him in the face. Wolf, Dumpster Fire and the Smoking Nun sounds like a show I would watch. Oh, I'm glad. Maybe one day we can make that happen.
Katie, you got a couple too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, I just have one. It says venti lattes are $5.01 at Starbucks. Here's most of it. From Scott.
I love Starbucks.
I don't know what
Not
he's
for their coffee
referencing there. Yeah, I don't know what he was referencing there, but thanks, Scotty.
Well, Katie, do you have anything else that you want to say before we
No.
say goodnight to these folks?
I'm good. This is a long show tonight. We had lots to say.
Yeah. A lot of
I feel like it's like we're reunited, and so when we have reunited night, it's like they always take longer.
Yeah, that's what 2 weeks will do. But we'll be back next week, and hopefully get back on a. There's no more conventions coming up, so I think maybe we can be on a consistent schedule now.
Yeah, we got to pick a date. We still don't have a date.
I think we should just do Mondays, like we've been doing.
I'm good with that. I'm good with Mondays.
That'll work out. That'll work out good. Tomorrow we have Casey will join me. We have Andrew Seidel from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, who has just written a new book, and we'll be talking about that book and what exactly the Freedom from Religious Foundation does and why they are so very important. And don't miss on Thursday. Shannon and I our new official show, the official show starts this Thursday, where each week, because of Shannon's schedule, it'll probably be every other week with Shannon, but Shannon will be joining me, and then on the days that she's not there, we'll have a guest co-host, and we will be taking nothing but your calls. It's going to be the name will be revealed later on this week, but it'll be a show where you can just call and talk to Shannon and I about anything that you want, and we're going to focus on people, not the cause. The cause can be about anything, but the other conversation in the show is going to be focused on people who are just about to leave religion or have just left religion, because there's not a lot out there that sort of focuses on that in-between period from when you're coming from somebody who is of faith and on your way to becoming an atheist, sort of like Doug. You're in that sort of in-between period where you're having to adjust to a new way of thinking, and we're going to try to push information and stuff that will help those people along their journey. So join us for that Thursday at 9 and every Thursday at 9. And with that, I will leave it to Katie to give you guys our official send-off that we do every week. Katie?
What's that?
Oh, come on, Katie. You got this.
What do we do every week?
Just make something up.
She thought you were serious.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Go get your turpentine and crystals and meditate over some apricot seeds and cure your cancer tonight. Okay, guys?
Yeah. Do what Katie said. I'll leave you with a cool Okay, Dave, give me 1 second. This is worth it. I gotta find it though.
Make sure you check out my column, and if you guys on NonSequitur haven't subscribed to my channel, come on over and subscribe. I swear I'm fun.
Yeah. Subscribe to Without a Crystal Ball for sure, and check out her article on Pathos. So I wanted to leave you guys with some advice that I think would is beneficial for for everyone. And this is just some things that I've picked up along the years. Me and some other people have picked up, and just general advice to get through life, to make you a better person and the people around you better people. Okay, if you ever feel alone, watch a horror movie before going to bed. You will not feel alone anymore. If your tires are too old, refresh them with a marker. If if you don't have ice for drinks, just use frozen vegetables. If you're short on time and there's not enough time to eat and brush your teeth, cover your toast with toothpaste and do double the work. If you leave your windshield wipers up, the officer won't be able to leave a fine and your money will be saved. It's very it's very expensive to eat 3 times a day. Wake up later, miss breakfast, and save the money. If you're having a bad day, no worries. Wear sunglasses. Now you're having a bad evening. Eggs are good for your health, but sometimes we get fed up with them. Just add some butter, chocolate, sugar, flour, and then bake them. Now it's not so boring to eat them every day. Now let's do a couple more.
I got a tip. Don't spit into the wind.
If you can't avoid virtual reality headsets, you can just close your eyes and imagine everything you want. A glove filled with warm water and holding it in between the fingers will create the illusion that you're not really alone.
Oh.
And then there's a picture of somebody. This is hilarious. There's a picture of somebody where they've taken duct tape the roll and taken a strip and taped it to the dashboard and left the roll hang, and then they've got their coffee cup in there if you can't afford a cup holder. That's just some advice for you guys.
Just some advice, guys.
Yeah, and with that, I will say,
don't be a sovereign citizen and don't withhold life-saving medicine from your child.
Yeah, because here's the main question they love to ask is, am I being detained? Yes, you're fucking being detained. Now shut up about it and learn some shit. Good night.
Yes. Just shut up.
Yeah, just shut up.
Exercise the right to remain fucking silent.
Yes.